I wanted to start off on a good note. We've got some more videos to play, and none of them are positive. None of them make me feel any better. So you watching, buckle up, and you, JR, enjoy. So Representative Katie Porter attempted to get him to talk about something fairly basic in the world of public housing, and this happened.
As you look it up, I'd also like you to get back to me, if you don't mind, to explain the disparity in REO rates. Do you know what an REO is?
An Oreo?
No, not an Oreo. An REO. REO.
Real estate?
What's the O stand for?
Organization?
Owned, real estate owned. That's what happens when a property goes to foreclosure. We call it an REO. And FHA loans have much higher REOs. That is, they go to foreclosure rather than to loss mitigation or to non-foreclosure alternatives like short sales than comparable loans at the GSEs. So I'd like to know why we're having more foreclosures that end in people losing their homes with stains to their credit and disruption to their communities and their neighborhoods at FHA than we are at the GSEs.
Okay, so Ben Carson just got real estate owned. Not that I think he necessarily cares. What universe does that brain surgeon live in that he thinks she might have been talking about cookies? He said Oreos, presumably because he thought there was at least a 5% chance that she was in fact talking about the delicious separatable cookie.
You know what? So
that's not what the committee meeting was about. Few are.
This continues to go back to the presidential election and how people were surprised that, not surprised, some are surprised that the idiot in the White House is doing the things that we could foresee him doing because of the way he ran his campaign. During the campaign, Ben Carson talked about how he got through medical school or some level of his medical education by having God pump in the answers to his brain.
Via
angels. It didn't happen that way. First off, it didn't. You studied, because in order for you to know all the complex things that you had to know, you had to study them because you cared about your career. He doesn't care about this career. This career means nothing to him. This is a position to get paid from and have some kind of level of prestige for a few years. So when you don't know what an REO is, because that's your job, you don't care enough to know what it is. And also, it didn't sound anything close to her saying Oreo, but he decided to take that because, hey, who cares? If anybody finds out how—
You think he's just making a joke out of it?
Yeah, well, because he continues.
Because he doesn't care so much.
Then what do they do afterwards?
Oh yeah, well why don't we turn to that? Okay, so here's how he responded to that incident. He tweeted, "Oh, REO, thanks Representative Katie Porter, enjoying a few post-hearing snacks. Sending some your way." I don't think that that's what she wants to be sent her way. I think what she wants to be sent her way is a HUD secretary that gives a damn about the people interacting with that area of the federal government, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so again, while people sit around and lead these positions and make all this money and make all these decisions that change people's lives, people are being kicked out, people are dying, and people's lives are ruined. And we talk about the land of opportunity, but you're sending Oreos around after your answer prove that you have no concern for the people that you're supposed to be protecting, representing.
And look, she said something similar, saying he literally gave zero competent answers when questioned about the housing policies he oversees. Quote, "Look, these are real people's lives that he is supposed to be improving through providing quality housing and affordable housing and FHA loans, and he doesn't understand. And in fact, he thought it was my job to teach him. I think this was the worst performance that I've certainly seen to date in financial services. Our HUD secretary has made very clear that the only details he cares about are the details that affect his life." And I mean, you will probably recall that, I believe it was last year, there were scandals involving how much money he wanted to spend on renovating his office. I guess he needed bigger cabinets to store more cookies. I don't know, they seem to be on his mind a lot. But this is a problem, and I understand. Look, we're to some extent playing this because it's funny. It's a joke. Stephen Colbert joked about it, everybody joked about it, that's true. But at the end of the day, the joke is not on Ben Carson or on Katie Porter, it's on us as a country. Because Ben Carson gets to leave and post a picture of him holding cookies, and then he gets to go back to his office. And the opportunity cost of having a guy who cares so little about the authority he's been vested with, like there are still the people who have to live in public housing are gonna be affected by the policies that he supports or ignores or vice versa. They're still out there, and they could have an advocate in that position, but they don't. They have someone who best case scenario wants to dwell in sort of low level corruption and then move on to some other position. But the damage is being done literally every day in every department when people like Ben Carson have been put there to at best grind to a halt the functions of government, and at worst, in the case of places like the EPA, to directly subvert its mission and instead change it from an organization that was designed to advance the interests of the American people to instead being an outright lobbying organization for the corporations that they're supposed to be regulating. And so it's funny briefly, and so we play it, but eventually the laughter dies away, and the 18 months that remain in Donald Trump's first term, let alone a second one, that's not so funny.
How much do people like this complain about petulant, privileged college students that walk around and chant stuff? Hey, those college students have to go in and take exams, tests, midterms, quizzes sometimes. And things like REO is the most basic thing. If you taught a fourth grader what REO meant and said, hey, in a few weeks you have to know what this means, I get the feeling he might be able to figure it out if he cares enough to remember that REO stands for 3 words that mean something. He didn't even give enough of a damn to care about that. But we complain about college students and they're so ridiculous, trying to tell us what to do. So the older you get, the more you get to just not work anymore. The effort and work that you put and they have these standards of you're supposed to have a commitment to your craft and job performance. Nobody cares about that anymore. So the older you get, the dumber you get to be, and the more you get to just shove things aside, which you have control over. This is just a college test maybe these guys have to take, but we're giving them trouble for actually wanting to change things in our country when you're in charge of doing so and you refuse to.
Yeah, we don't have time to show you the videos, but no, it's okay. We'll put them up on the Twitter at the Damage Report. But he was asked about safety standards for pollutants and things like that in the house and the effect that they can have on the kids, and he didn't care. He was at best petulant, if not outright hostile to Representative Ayanna Pressley's questioning, talking about kids that are being separated from their families to be sent to substandard housing by Representative Sylvia Garcia. He like mockingly said, well, I guess that you're gonna have to do your job then. No, you need to do your job, okay? We're paying you to do that job, not to post pictures of snacks.
It was consistent, I'm sorry. Representative Joyce Beatty asked him about the Office of Minority and Women Inclusion. I don't know that office, but it has an acronym as well. It's oddly OMWI. He didn't know what that meant either because he doesn't care about any of it.
Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.